This week I'll talk about CTV and OTT, Facebook messaging, and A/B tests. And this is Trends on Thursdays, where I'll tell you about the trends I discussed with my clients this week. First up, CTV and OTT. These days it's hard to beat YouTube when it comes down to online video ads, but streaming services in general got a major boost over the last 3 months. In terms of household reach, Spotify, Disney Plus, and PBS all up 20% plus from January versus March 2020. CNN Go up 52%, Fox News up 138%. This partially because in the same time frame we've added 7 million more streaming households, often with more than one device. And by the way, on average, the consumption went up by a good hour per day as well. So lots of inventory on every ad platform there is. OTT, by the way, is over-the-top boxes, and CTV are connected smart TVs. Since OTT and CTV ads allow me to target both by audience and context, I can get as granular or as broad as I want to get. For example, if you're purely branding a service that could be used by anyone, you might target by zip code and age or household income. If you want to dig really deep, I could target people between 35 and 55 that have a certain medical condition. By the way, if you're a doctor or a pharmaceutical company looking for an ad agency, hit me up. Anyways, next up, Facebook. Social media allows just about anybody to build a circle of influence, from a few dozen to a few million. The biggest challenge, no matter what size your network, is to monetize on having built that influence. This is where platforms like Patreon come in, where viewers can be charged for premium content that's not available to the general public. This is your fan club, basically. Since a lot of venues have built audiences and are shut down due to the crowd restrictions, Facebook is coming to the rescue with a feature that allows companies and artists to charge for access to their live stream. I can see this being useful in several ways, from access to keynotes to clubs and parties. If you're in the live event or entertainment business, it's important for you to understand everything you can about produced live streaming. Think multiple camera angles that you can switch with the click of a button, lower thirds, cards, pretty much everything that you might expect from the Oscars or the Grammys on TV. The technology is much cheaper than it was even a year ago, and there are several options that are available from cheap to entirely free. Next up, messaging. No, not the Facebook Messenger, but the message in your marketing. Forrester research shows that brands benefit from continued advertising during economic downturns. What matters, other than not disappearing from top of mind, is of course that you want a message that isn't insensitive to what's happening everywhere. Consumers don't want to be sold to because they're largely not buying. Blessed as much of the services industry as they are in a much better position to keep on going, because you still need doctors, accountants, lawyers, lawn services, as long as they make it easy for you to do business with them. Messaging can't be all depressing and corona-y, whatever. Messaging can't be all depressing because you want to uplift. Messaging in general has actually changed quite a bit. If you called a client about an outstanding bill 3 months ago, you were totally fine. Now you're basically insensitive. Even when I'm pitching a story to the news media, I have to be careful to not seem like everything is business as usual, because it's not. So the time to switch up the messaging might be now, and you want to think that through very carefully. One more, A/B tests. I just spent an hour on the phone with my Google Ads rep the other day, and we were reviewing client campaigns. It reminded me just how much of a difference one picture or a headline makes. As marketers, we're often in the business to argue over subtle differences in language, to try out whether attorney or lawyer performs better with the target audience. And that might vary from one zip code to the other, by the way. The trick is, consequently, to run more than one ad, to run dozens of them and see which ones perform best. Given that possibility, why would I want to limit myself to just one? Let's say I geofence 2 Walmart stores that are 10 miles apart. One may respond better to a red ad versus a blue ad. We've changed one word in the headline or used a slightly different picture or call to action, and suddenly an ad converts twice as good as what it used to. The point is to have the ads competing against each other and let the better one win. Anyways, that's it for this week's Trends on Thursdays. I'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Tobias Wilhelm.